Hello world! We will make today the first stop in our learning journey. On the map, this stop is placed under factors and I will talk about learning time. What do you think? Is there an optimal amount of time that we should spend learning in order to have the highest benefit out of it? If you would have to imagine the perfect learning session, how long would that be? Pause the video and take time to think about. Write down your opinion and then please come back to hear mine. Before I start presenting the principles that contribute to the best learning session, I have to draw attention upon 3 warnings. Warning number 1. The total amount of time to learn a material is proportional to the material that has to be learned. In order to imagine this, it is estimated that the world-class chess masters require from 50,000 to 100,000 hours of practice to reach that level of expertise. Warning number 2. Attempts to cover the topic too fast will inhibit the learning and the subsequent transfer. Warning number 3. Learning includes also the time needed for processing information. The conclusion is that learning cannot be rushed. There are no shortcuts to learning. There are some better or more efficient ways than the others. And faster doesn't always mean better, at least not in case of learning. Because the demonstration of a principle increases the retention with 30%, I created an episode for those who want to take part in the experiment that proves how time influences retention. I put a link in the description. If you want to try the experiment, I advise you to make it right now, before you find out the principles, because they could influence the way your mind works, or you could consciously try to break the rules. Here I will go on with my topic and I will introduce 2 terms that might be new for you. And if so, then please write them down for a later review. Those terms are primacy and recency. I'll explain what they mean based on the learning curve. According to the primacy effect, you are more likely to remember the first 10 minutes of a learning session, a lecture, or even a social event. The reason for that is because you have some time to repeat the information and by this to move it from the short-term memory in the long-term memory. If you took the experiment, you have noticed that you have remembered many words from the beginning of the list, because until a specific moment you managed to rehearse them mentally. After the time period corresponding to the primacy, it follows a time frame where we have a leak of information, what I personally call the dementia phase. Have you also noticed that you have remembered less words from the middle of the list? According to the recency effect, you are more likely to remember the last 10 minutes or the last things that you have learned in a learning session, in a lecture, or a social event, because they are recent and they are stored in your short-term memory, which can hold about 7 items. This is the reason why you have remembered more words from the end of the list if you took the experiment. The research shows that our natural ability to concentrate on a task is somewhere between 10 and 14 minutes, depending on the task, and anything above this could go lost. In order to achieve the highest return on the invested time when it comes to learning, I recommend that a learning session shall take something about 30 minutes. Our don't forget to remember from this episode is: learning every day 30 minutes is much more effective than learning 4 hours at once a week. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Till then, don't forget, every day is a learning day. Bye!